I'm Adam Walsh, host and producer of This Signal. We are at the 2024 Municipal Symposium in Gander. I really like coming to places like this because we meet municipal leaders, community leaders from across Newfoundland and Labrador. We talk about what's working in the communities, what some of their issues are, and how they're working to solve those issues. Here are some highlights from who we were speaking to here at the symposium. Amy Cody, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for being back here again.
What's up this year?
So much.
Yeah, I mean, it's a stacked list of just different. There's folks like Ann Whelan was talking this morning. There's a bunch of issues and panels and people around. I've been saying hi to everyone. What's the stand-up bit for you for what's on the go this year?
Well, we've got 25 sessions that we're packing into the next couple of days.
25.
25, yeah. And that doesn't include some of the networking sessions and things that we'll have outside of the actual scheduled sessions. So it's a very, very busy weekend. Again, we have our continuing topics like code of conduct legislation, ATIP regulations. We've got the new municipal legislation coming in the fall, the Towns and Local Service District Act, which will replace the old Municipalities Act from 1999. So lots of chatter about some of the items in that act. Again, sessions on mental health. We've got a screening of the beautiful film Forgotten Warriors happening tomorrow night with members of Halibut First Nation here to help us with that, and then a panel afterwards where they're going to talk about that experience, the lived experience for some who actually were involved in that hunger strike.
Yeah, we had Noel Joe on talk yesterday about the community in Miapakek, and it was a great, fantastic
It's going to be just wonderful, so we're really looking...
So you haven't seen the doc yet?
I haven't, because I knew we were showing it here, so I wanted to see it when it was actually happening.
It's really good.
I've seen the trailer, and I've seen lots of clips, and I've spoken to a lot of people about it. I'm just so pleased that we're able to foster that relationship and continue the relationship with our Indigenous members, and just really, bring some awareness to what their struggles have been and how we're continuing to build that relationship and make people aware.
So, president of MNL, also Grand Falls Windsor councillor. I remember coming as we were opening up through the pandemic, being here. Folks were still in masks. We're doing these interviews and talking about what that meant at the time. Now, I'm just asking. I want two things from you, if possible. I'd like to know a success that you're really proud of, something that's really worked with municipalities, and then I'd like to know one of the big challenges that you think need to be dealt with.
Well, we're coming off a big win, what we're considering a big win off of the provincial budget. Our resolutions from our last conference mostly dealt with funding for fire and emergency services and training for municipal councillors and staff. We were granted our asks. We've got additional money for fire and emergency services for municipal fire departments, and we got additional training money for our municipal councillors and staff to come to events like this to make sure they know, how to do the work, give them the tools to do the work, and to educate themselves on how to do everything. And it's a massive deal because we don't want money to be the deciding factor on whether or not our municipal councillors can avail of the training that's offered to be able to do their jobs to the best of their ability. And there's so many new things coming at us all the time, and we're trying to attract new members to council. So they need to know that the supports are there for them if they're going to put their name on a ballot. So being able to offer this training and take some of that financial burden away is huge for us. So our advocacy efforts, I'm so proud of the work that MNL does for our members, and I think that's my biggest, my heart fills with the success that we get from our advocacy efforts.
And what's the challenge? What's the big thing you're looking at now? I know there's a number of them, but what's one that's huge?
Challenges, infrastructure is a massive challenge in our municipalities. Trying to find funding, dealing with the provincial government and the federal government on finding the funding and assigning the funding for us to be able to address those challenges. And as well, the application process is very, very difficult for municipalities, smaller ones, even larger ones, to be able to have the information and the data that's necessary to fill out those applications. That's a struggle.
Shouldn't the province have folks to help you with that, though? Shouldn't there be under municipal affairs like a subsection of the department with staff to do that, to get money and to get stuff for communities?
We would love that, and we work very well well with the provincial government, Department of Municipal Provincial Affairs, and all the departments within the provincial and federal government, in giving them the information to let them know this is where we're struggling, this is how we want you to help. So as long as we can have that conversation, then that's a positive for us. We all know it's a struggle to find the resources, people resources, to be able to do that work. So, Municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador is working. We've got some housing capacity building officers hired now, 2 that are going to be working from the M&L office on the east and west coast, that are going to be traveling to communities to help our municipalities fill out those applications. And that was a sponsorship and funding from ACOA. So that's another positive. So our advocacy efforts are working, but again, it's a massive challenge right across the board.
Amy Cody, thank you so much.
Thank you so much again for being here. Appreciate it.
Nice seeing you as always.
You too. Take care.
Deidre Walsh is here, and no stranger to the show either. Director of Advocacy and Communications. Deidre, I'm going to say something, and then you're going to explain it so people don't think I'm being weird.
Okay.
Show me the money.
Yes, Show Me the Money. So we can't take credit for that title, actually. The Show Me the Money.
Jerry Maguire? Tom Cruise?
Pardon me?
Was that Jerry Maguire? Tom Cruise?
No, well, it was from Jerry Maguire.
Yeah, that's a movie line.
Yeah,
so that's where the credit is
That
due.
is the credit. Well, that's the ultimate credit. But I have to say, that this is the session we're having, one of 2 sessions this afternoon on grant opportunities for municipalities and just funding opportunities more largely. I will say Susan Arns is going to be doing most of the presentation this afternoon on the Show Me the Money.
Yeah.
Susan is the town manager for Logie Bay, Middle Cove, Outer Cove. And Susan worked very hard with a group of students to really culminate a set of places where you can go to access funding. And I think that brings us to why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Because there is so much funding available for municipalities, for other community groups, etc. But you don't always know where that money is, or indeed how to get it.
Yeah.
So having almost like a repository of sources to access funding, because of course for municipalities, a lot of the extra funding pots that they compete for really help run the municipality and the programming that they do. So we do need this sort of repository. We need a sense of where things are, so our members, and particularly the staff working at our municipalities, know where to directly go to get funding opportunities when they're available.
Give me an example then. Like what are we, when we say funding, what are we talking about?
Community accessibility grants, age-friendly grants, funding opportunities that are available through the provincial government, through the federal government, but also through, foundations, through the private sector, anything really. Most of these funding opportunities are, unfortunately, even at the governmental levels, based on putting in an application through a competitive process. And
that's kind of interesting because, like, nationally, the provinces don't have to compete at that level, right? But at the municipal level, there's like competitions, which makes it kind of weird.
Well, I think, as an order of government that is arguably the most important, the closest to the people, having to be put in a precarious situation to compete for funding beyond the municipal operating grants, which municipalities do get, at least
funding that every year,
the core funding, minus of course the largest 7, which is also an issue. That does put municipalities in a precarious situation. It does impact fiscal stability, and of course, as we all know, depending on your staff capacity, and even when you are hugely capacitated, it takes a lot of time. There's a huge administrative burden to doing this.
And like what Amy Cody was just saying, right? Like if you have staff that haven't been trained to even be able to kind of search for this kind of a thing and to know about it and everything else, then your community is at a disadvantage compared to another spot where maybe they had the training or it's a bigger center where there's more staffing, and then your community is missing out, and typically these are lower population places anyways.
Absolutely. And one of the things we don't want to do is we don't want to leave money on the table when it's available. The thing that's most important is that we all need to be in a state of readiness. Depending on what the capacity is, it doesn't matter.
Right.
If you've got 1 staff or 5 staff, we should be ready because we have to set municipalities up for success. So if this is the system in which we need to work, applying competitively, which M&L has been critical of in the past, we need to be able to support our members, and we all need to work together to make that possible and probable and successful.
I'll be checking back with you before the end of the show. I'd like to have if only I could have a youth perspective. Is that possible? A young person to talk to me here today?
Well, you are in luck. I am so happy to bring over Florence Manning. Now, I will say Florence is my daughter. I might be a little bit biased, but I'll let you do the intro. And Florence is joining us this week as a volunteer, as a performer, as an exceptional navigator and communicator with all of these fabulous people. I'm going to hand it over to you, Flo.
Hi, Florence.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So what have you been up to?
A lot of running around.
Yeah.
But I can't say I don't enjoy it. I really do. It's nice to be able to go do things for people.
So what types of things have you been kind of learning or kind of observing here as a volunteer?
A lot of there's a lot of stress behind doing this,
Yeah.
for sure, for a lot of people. And I think that there's a lot of work that goes into this, and lots of charts and spreadsheets, and it's really interesting to watch people doing their jobs in a setting like this.
Yeah. Why do you, like, for this municipal political level, right? So from councillors and mayors and folks like your mom and stuff, why do you think that it's so important for them to be here at a place like this doing what they're doing?
So municipal government is, of course, a very important part, and a lot of our communities here, we have lots of stuff going on in our communities, and I also think that there's lots of educational things that all the sessions have different people coming in to talk to these mayors and councillors and, town workers and such about how they can improve their towns, how they can work on helping out the people in their towns, and just a lot of important stuff. And it's a place for them to meet and gather and really get to know each other better.
And for you, and this doesn't have to be municipal, it could be any level of anything, but what types of things for issues or world events or national or provincial things, what are you paying attention to? What things are important to you?
Personally, I find workers' rights is very important to me. That's something I pay attention to. Federal politics, mostly, a lot of stuff like that.
Why are workers' rights so important?
Well, I come from a blue-collar family. My dad works a blue-collar job, so it's really important to me as somebody who wants to go into trades that people who are in trades are treated fairly and have the wages that they deserve, because they do a lot of hard work with their hands. And not to say that academics don't, because they do, but people who work in trades and are working with their hands a lot, and it's important that they get paid for their service.
Yeah, you want to make sure they've got good pay, good benefits, time off when they need it, health care, dental care, and, ability to retire, all that stuff.
And a lot of them are rotational workers who have families. So my dad worked rotations while I was younger, and I think that's a really hard thing on their mental health, but also on the mental health of the families.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Thanks for this chat. I'm
You're
going to let you
welcome.
get back to volunteering.
Thank you.
And I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Florence Manning there, folks. This is The Signal. We're live on location in Gander, right? We're just hanging out here in Gander at the 2024 Municipal Symposium at the Quality Hotel, and I think it's lunchtime now. I believe we're going to, Flo there was talking about mental health, and I think we're going to have a mental health conversation now, because when you talk about politics of any level, any facet of life, or no matter what job you're doing, mental health is important. So Tina Neary is here, MNL's Avalon Director and Chair of the Mental Health Task Force.
Correct. Hi, Adam.
How you doing? First of all, how are you doing since the by-election?
Excellent. Right back at it, doing what I've always been doing and loving it, and keeping an eye on everybody else and making sure that they're doing what they need to be doing as well.
How much did you learn on that?
I can't even begin to start to tell you how much I learned. It was one of my most, largest learning experiences probably in a lifetime, over and beyond anything else. It really was. I mean, everybody was great. All party people were great. It was wonderful to engage. So thanks.
You're welcome. Talk to me about mental health then. What is your role for your position for the chair of the Mental Health Task Force?
Well, the Mental Health Task Force has been, we've been engaged with that since 2017. So back then, the town of Portugal Cove St. Phillips supported a resolution that came forward from myself to develop a municipal mental health task force. And I think one of the reasons that I felt it was important was because I was just one voice, basically recognizing there was a need in municipalities for people to have education and awareness. Yeah. And so we put it forward, it was accepted unanimously, and we just moved forward. And so my role from that is to just recruit individuals who have lived experience or who themselves are just passionate about the topic, and who are within their community have an opportunity within their community to do something with that. So we do a lot of peer support and peer education, and always looking for funding, that's important with the task force so that we can do things in the communities to be able to provide that education and awareness that's necessary. So I remember, Adam, when I first started in 2017, I was invited by MNL to an Eastern Regional meeting to talk about this. And I stood at the front of the room, there was about 120 people, and the question that I asked was, how many of you in this room feel that you have an issue in your municipality with mental health? And 2 people put up their hand. And that, to me, is a glaring issue with what we have going on with people not realizing the importance of recognizing what mental health means. We all have mental health, but what is it that is having an effect on people and their mental wellness or mental illness, right? So we really need, we do a lot of work on that at these conferences and symposiums because we really need people to go back and feel like they have the tools and strategies to manage within their towns and to help and support the people that need it.
So are people getting that now? If you were to go in that room again now with the people these days, would more hands go up or
Absolutely,
what?
absolutely. We've had a lot more conversation. We actually had somebody today that saw the agenda and saw that there is a mental health session happening later on today with LifeWise. And they said, oh my gosh.
Was it Brad Glynn?
Well, it was Brad, yes, but he unfortunately, I believe, has sent his regrets. And so somebody else from LifeWise, I believe Sarah, is going to be here.
Peer-to-peer support, right?
That's right. That's right. And they do a phenomenal job, as we do with most of the programming in the province. But it's so important for people to have that education and awareness because we know that the province, like probably the country, is at capacity for the resources that are out there. And so we need people to be able to recognize what's happening around them and when it is that they need to be able to provide support and what it is they can be doing to give that support in the absence of, in the presence of, 2-year wait lists for people to get help, to get help and assistance, right? So. Yeah, so we strive to work together, always recruiting individuals from right across the province so that we can have a perspective of every area, every district, every region, and then go and lobby the government to stay committed to what their language is and, their Towards Recovery document and all of those things that are happening. And so we're just here to make sure, again, like everybody's standing up and doing what they need to be doing to help and support.
At some point, there's going to be a provincial election. Is this something you're looking ahead to yet, or is it not something you're thinking about?
Always thinking about it, of course. Always looking at what my options and opportunities are. Of course, it was something that I had been striving for a number of years.
Yeah.
And so.
And you came second to Fred Hutton, right?
And I did.
Yeah.
I did. I mean, it was a good close race. It certainly wasn't a landslide by any means, but you know what? At the end of the day, as long as whoever is in the seat is doing the job.
Yeah.
And now it's just given me opportunity to go back to the chair that I had and hold the likes of Minister Hutton and everybody else involved, hold them accountable to what's required in our municipalities and our surrounding areas.
I appreciate this chat. Nice to see you again.
You as well, Adam. Thank you so very much.
All right,
you have a great day.
You too. All right, so now as we're looking around, it's like a, I don't know what kind of metaphor I'm looking for, a Congo line, so it's come to a line. Who's up next here today? Sure. Mayor Hutchings, how you doing?
Good, I'm good. How are you?
Good. So tell us about Cowhead.
What do you want to know?
What's the best thing about Cowhead for people who may not know? Like, what's the best kept secret for Cowhead?
Well, we have a beautiful beach, a lovely walking trail, a world-class theater. Great place to visit. It's very relaxing. It's in Grosse Morne, but I would say it's the quieter of the communities in Grosse Morne, so it's very tranquil.
Very tranquil. Okay.
Yes.
So it's a very tranquil spot.
Yep.
What are some of the challenges that you're facing as mayor?
Well, it's a small town, so that comes with its challenges. Money is a problem, I think, for us all. We have big issues that cost lots of money, and with a small town and an aging population, it's hard to address some of those things. We're working on it, but it's an uphill battle. Yeah.
Yeah, because talking with Amy Cody, Dietrich Walsh, like training and supports, right, comes up. What is it like for a spot like yours, right, like a municipality like Cowhead? How important is training for folks for your community to thrive?
It's very important. We actually put through the resolution that was passed. So M&L advocated on our behalf, and it was passed. So I'm very happy that that happened. It's hard for a small town with small population to get out to Central or to St. John's. So this funding for training is going to make a big difference, and I think we need to be prepared for what we're doing. I think, like for council and staff, like if you don't know what you're talking about, education's all of it, and the networking you get here is vital. I would never want to miss, but sometimes for small towns it comes down to a financial decision, and that's not right. I don't think that should be the case. I think if you're willing, you should be able to go. So this advocacy piece that they pass is going to make that happen.
Give me a brief word on capital works project. And I'm going to be really dumb for a second. When we say capital works projects, what are we talking about?
Well, there's a variety of different things that you can apply for on the capital works projects.
Yeah.
So we're hoping to get more funding for that too. There's a cap right now.
Yeah.
So we put in one for our town infrastructure that didn't end up happening because we didn't end up getting the money we needed. So hopefully we can maybe get something, some advocacy around increasing those funding.
And what was this project?
A water sewer upgrade project.
Right. Which
Aging infrastructure.
Yeah.
It's a big one. It's I would say in the upwards of millions of dollars. So for a town of just over 400 people, that's a stretch.
Right.
Yeah.
Anything else before I let you go? Any other thoughts?
No, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, it's great to talk to you. It's so
yes.
great. So thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so
see
much.
You now. All right, so that was Mayor Deanna Hutchings of Cowhead. So now we got Keith Billard coming up, talking to us. So Flower Cove, hey?
Yeah.
Flowers Cove, sorry. Tell us about Flowers Cove.
Well, tell me Flowers Cove. Flowers Cove, like all other small rural cities, towns, got a funding problem. Aging population, using the property tax, trying to run the town on the property tax. Can't work.
Yeah.
Right? I mentioned this before. Two solutions. First, provincial government is going to have elections soon. I say anybody out there that votes and talks to a Liberal or PC or whoever, say to them, listen, the towns want Crown land within the jurisdiction to use as they see fit to sustain their ability to grow. Two, a federal election is coming up. You get the guy in the federal election to say, I'll vote for you if you will give the small rural countries, cities, a percentage of the income tax. Maybe half, maybe 3/4. But come out of a deal. They've refused so far, but that's what we need to be sustainable. Two solutions. And they'll work.
Mayor Billard, what's the population of Flowers Cove?
A couple of hundred.
A couple of hundred people.
And we're aging population.
Aging population.
And we got 21 graduating this year, and we got one coming in.
Sorry, 21 graduating and one coming in. What's looking ahead for the future of your community? What do you see 5 to 10 years down the road to 20?
Two things. One, you got to have hope.
Yeah.
You got to get the land. We're trying to do a small subdivision, divide the land up, 100 by 100, 200 by 100, and make it accessible. Anybody who wants to come home or build a house.
Yeah.
Because people are afraid of land that's claimed. They don't own it. It's claimed, and they don't want to dispute in the courts. So if you had a piece of land, you say, yes, son, you come home, build your house, or put your thing there, and you can have your land. We'll supply you with water and a road, and you pay taxes. And that's how hope will increase the population.
How long have you lived in Flowers Cove for?
I went to Flowers Cove in 1982-83. I retired in 2003, and I was mayor 1993 till now.
1993 till now.
Yeah.
That's quite the run as mayor.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So I enjoyed every bit of it and hated all of it. fighting for a nickel and dime,
Yeah, all the way.
all the way.
It's a lot of years. I said that's a lot of years.
A lot of years,
Yeah.
a lot of good people,
No.
but we're not getting volunteers to come back.
No.
We're not getting the young ones come. I'm 76 years old, soon be 77, and the rest of them are that old.
Yeah.
And we got one young one, I call him young one, 45, 50 years old.
Okay. Young, 45 or 50.
He's a youngster,
There you go.
right? So we need have that subdivision, bring new people in, start building the place up.
There you go. I appreciate you taking time to talk. Thank you so much.
Nice to see you.
Mayor Keith Billard there, Flowers Cove Mayor. All right, we'll keep cycling through. I'm Adam Walsh. This is The Signal. We're live in Gander for the Municipalities Symposium 2024. Trivy Parsons, where are you from, Councillor Parsons? I've talked to you before. Remind me.
Yes, I'm from Centerville, Wareham, Trinity as a councillor. I'm also town clerk in Indian Bay, but I'm moving to Hare Bay, so I'm in transition, and I'm training the new town clerk and learning a new town and staying on top of my council duties.
How's that all going?
It's going well, actually. I'm very confident in the person that's taking over in Indian Bay and in my abilities to do a good job for the town of Hare Bay. So, and they are all very cooperating in that they know I have multiple hats that I'm wearing, so they are helping me out as much as possible.
So what's working well in both these places, in your opinion?
In all these places, good councils, which is a key, and phenomenal town clerks.
Yeah.
Yes. So
hugely important.
Without the town clerks, the rest of us might as well just sit on our couches because they make us or break us.
What are the challenges then?
The challenges are having councillors that work together. When I actually interviewed for this job, I said, so when your council leaves a council meeting, if they've had an issue in the meeting where they're not all in agreement on a motion, when they walk out of here, do they go out and say, well, boy, I didn't agree with that? Or do they go out and say, we made the decision? That makes a huge impact on how council is viewed, how the staff are viewed, and I think if you got that cooperation and understanding between councillors that we're a team, we're doing the best we can for our community, so no matter how we feel on the subject in chamber, when we get out, we are a we.
We hear about the rising cost of living, food insecurity, housing issues across the province, aging demographics. What's the landscape like for where you're working?
It's looking really well in CWT. We got some growth going on there.
There you go. Nice.
In Indian Bay, we've lost 14 people in the last year. So that's households that are, impacting what the bottom line is going to be for the budget. Then you have infrastructure issues that are also impacting what you can do for the residents. But I got to give a shout out to the New Horizons program. We had that program in Indian Bay for seniors inclusion, and every Thursday we put on a meal that brings seniors together so they could socialize, sit down, talk to one another. It was massive. We started out with like 40 people coming to these luncheons, and it was for 50 plus. So you had a wide variety of people, but it started out with 40 and it ended with 140 people.
140 people?
140 people were getting served lunch in the town of Indian Bay every Thursday by a group of volunteers that were helping out because it was just too much for us as a small town to handle, and it was people from everywhere. We even had the Liberal and the PC party hosted at our last one.
There you go. That's pretty. If you can get them to sit down together, that's pretty good.
Right.
What? Again, this question's going to seem pretty simple. What's the benefit of this? Why is this so important for something like this?
Which way are the benefit?
Having 140 seniors or 50 plus sitting down, having a meal, and talking to each other.
A lot of the seniors don't get out much.
Yeah, loneliness, right?
And same in CWT, we put on where we did hampers for everybody, and you'd be amazed how many people actually needed those hampers. We were shocked. They started delivering them at 9 o'clock in the morning and stopped at 10 o'clock at night.
Wow.
In 3 communities. Well, actually 4, because they also serviced Indian Bay with that program. So it's incredible when you think about what you can do as a town. But again, it was all the volunteers. We got some money through grants, and the rest was you got to step up to the plate. You want your community to be what you want it to be, you need to be a part of that by being a volunteer, by being active, by showing up and doing your voting and taking care of matters that you think your council needs to be aware of. So if you have a community that's highly involved, you're going to get the best results.
Thank you for this. I appreciate it. And there's nothing, when you look at folks being involved and doing stuff like that, it's exciting.
It is. It's very exciting. And I am highly involved because I'm chair of 2 or 3 committees, treasurer of committees. So, and I never saw this coming.
No.
Like really and truly, I was living in St. John's and my sister told me there was a job in our hometown. I took on the job and then I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize all this happens behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So I know what I'm talking
When was
about.
this?
When 2016.
That's not like forever ago. I mean, that's not that long ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, and it's been so much fun and so much learning, and I couldn't be happier.
Terrific Parsons, thank you so much for this.
Thank you for having me.
All right, as we keep cycling through here, it is The Signal live in Gander at the Municipality's Symposium 2024. Like I keep saying, I love going to these things because you meet folks from all across the province, right? Including Labrador West. We've got Mayor Belinda Adams here. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. What are you at?
I'm at the Symposium now in Gander, having a look at the sessions and what's going on and how it impacts Labrador West.
Yeah.
Mayor of Labrador City, obviously I care about Labrador West.
Yeah.
Two small communities, so see what's here. Every time we come out to this, we learn something new. Last time we were here, we were on the eve of holding the symposium in Labrador City, and it became big where we had a load of government officials, which was wonderful, and some actions taken out of that to hopefully move us forward into a better direction when it comes to economic growth and development and what we can do for our future for our town.
So then where is stuff moving for economic growth and development for the future of the town, for Labrador City, and the region for Labrador West?
From the standpoint of economic development in Labrador City, I think it was kind of an epiphany in the past year or so, recognizing the fact that we live in 2 mining towns, okay?
Yeah.
And vision coming out of the symposium actually was, how do we grow ourselves from being a mining town to a town with a mine?
Right.
If you look at Five-Winged Goose, we want to shut down, Everett Goose is going to shut down. So the life of the mine eventually will shut down. Do we want to be Great Harbour Deep, where we relocate, or do we want to be proactive
do we
and
want
make a
the
difference in our
town to
town?
continue to exist and thrive, whether there's a mine or not, as opposed to the tail of the dog and the wagging type of a thing, right?
So if you look at, we have a lot of fly in, fly out, okay? And this seem to get bigger because, with green steel and all that good stuff, it's wonderful for the expansion of the Rio Tinto IRC mine and Takora mines.
Yeah.
It's wonderful, but we're not housing people, we don't have it. But if the mine goes down a little bit, we tend to stop. We got to be more proactive continuously. So if land sits for 5 years our house, that's fine. We don't think it will, but we need to be more proactive in that approach.
So then what else needs to come in? Because I love the discussion around green steel. I love the industry discussion, looking at where the world is today with the green transition, the just transition, whatever you want to call it. So what more do you want to see then for the solidifying of the town to make sure the roots are deep and that to keep beating this metaphor, the tree is strong for community growth?
The tree is strong, yeah. From that point of view, we've settled. Both mines put everything there, whether it's recreation, whether it was public libraries and different things over the years. Now we need to lean on the government to help us rebuild Labrador West, Labrador City, to bring more services to our community. We just announced Friday that we're building a new gymnastics center. And from the core of that, what the community needs to realize is we need to take care of our youth, our seniors, are most vulnerable. That's the type of buildings that will do that.
Yeah.
From that, we all talked about healthcare, okay? How do you incentivize to get a doctor here, an anesthesiologist, a young nurse?
Yeah.
From that summit, we had to build partnerships from that. So if you look at, I met 2 young nurses who were traveling nurses, just wanted to work and make overtime money in the big land to go back to school. And I said, have you skied here? What do you mean ski? I didn't know ski. Called to Ski Hill, can you give a couple passes for these nurses so we go up and ski it? Ski Hill's not great right now, but it's a tourist attraction. It's done very well. Now it's time to build that up to a tourist attraction. How do we incentivize to get people to come to make it better? Because we got an old facility, so it's a continuous cycle of incentivizing, build the growth, see what else, take care of those three groups of people.
In way back in 2012, I went to Fort Mac to do a series called Boomtown to Hometown, right?
Yep.
And it was a look at just.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And this,
And that's why
everything you're saying is
mine-
this is reminding me
mine
of
with a
this.
town, and
Right?
we
So
don't wanna
you're
be a
taking
mining town
No,
anymore.
you want to be a town that
Yep.
has a mine, but with all the stuff from healthcare and stuff for kids and stuff for seniors, stuff for inclusion, all of it there, so the town is successful no matter what. It makes, of course, this.
And the biggest hotspot for us now is, I keep telling everybody, so this year, the Honor Company of Cabinet is 70 years in production. Okay?
Yeah.
70 years. There's not one place for a senior to go.
Right.
I came out yesterday on a flight with a 57-year couple who had to leave to go to Lewisport. Can't even be in a home anywhere there. So because people left because we were a mining town.
Yeah.
The kids weren't staying. I wasn't staying. I stay there now. My two boys are there. My mom is there.
Yeah.
She has nowhere to go now as such. She doesn't want to leave now. A lot of them are leaving the community because of that. It's really sad. So we got to get to a point where we take care of our seniors that way if they want to age in place for accessibility buildings and that kind of stuff. So that's the energy we got to put into the next 10 years for sure.
Mary Adams, thank you for this. I appreciate this chat.
You're very welcome.
See you now. Enjoy
Take
the rest
care.
of the conference. See ya. All right, I'm Adam Walsh. Oh, Walter Yetman's coming up. How you doing, Mary Yetman?
Doing great.
So what do you want? What would you like to talk about? Like through the Bay Roberts lens, is it like free slate? What would you like to talk about?
Well, I want to talk about, I've been in municipal government now for 18 years.
18 years.
18 years. So after 18 years, you start to really, really appreciate everybody involved with the municipal sector. Mm-hmm. And I come out to all these conventions, symposiums, and being involved with the public and fellow councillors and our staff for so long, you start to really, really appreciate the work that they do. And there's a lot of challenges involved with that, of course, and we're all there for each other to get through those challenges, especially in a small town. The challenges can be greater because, of course, so many people in the community, and making hard decisions is really hard. So I just want to send, put a hats off to all the councillors, our decision makers, to our staff. PMA is represented here this week, to our volunteers, to our community groups, our search and rescue teams, and our church groups and our community groups. All that put together makes a successful community, and they all work so hard. There's so many people here this weekend that have served so long, and they are dedicated to better quality of life for their community. And it's a huge commitment. And I know next year we have our municipal elections coming up, and we hope people get out, and people who want to serve their community, improve their community, to get out and put their names forward. But I'm coming into something here now because I want to talk about one of our very important groups in our community. And in Bay Roberts, it's a strictly volunteer group. It's our volunteer firefighters.
Right.
We call it a fire rescue now in Bay Roberts, not our volunteer fire department as we used to call it, but fire rescue.
So these are the crowds. So it's like any fire or whatever in the community, but also accidents on the veterans and you name it, right?
Exactly, and that's why I wanted to allude to the fact that the duties and responsibilities of the typical volunteer fire department. I was a volunteer firefighter from '93 to 2004, I think it was.
Yeah.
And I know where most of our calls went. It was the chimney fires, it was the grass fires, the house structure fires, and every now and then we'd be involved with some accidents and highway issues. But nowadays things have changed, and there's more responsibilities and bigger responsibilities, I believe, with volunteer fire rescue, and they need to be commended for that. And I want to bring in the work of MNL and the advocacy they put forward to, I won't say reward, but to pay what it's worth to make these calls. Now, specifically, it was they allocate for money for highway incidents and calls that they had to make outside the boundary, which would include accidents, mostly on our Veterans Highway, let's say. And so there was a rate, and MNL asked for tripling of the rate to say we appreciate what you do. Yeah. And it's been unchanged for so many years, and they need that we know. They need to know that we appreciate what they're doing. And our representative, MNL, of all municipalities, they represent us. They advocated for that, to show value to, and the sacrifice that these volunteer fire. Remember, they're volunteers.
Yeah.
Volunteers.
The
They're
volunteers
taking away
who are saving
Yes.
lives
Yes.
and experiencing trauma themselves
Exactly.
out on the highway for each and every collision that happens.
Exactly, and they're taken away from their families.
Yeah.
And it's a huge 24/7 commitment, 365 days a year. And I got to appreciate the work that to ask for that money. It came through, and so very proud of our M&L team and the work that they're doing. And a lot of these issues come forward with resolutions that come from our meetings here.
Yeah, so
from
this is when
communities.
people are curious about what happens at these types of events, right? So like you hear municipality symposium. Sometimes it can make your eyes glaze because if you don't know, right? You just hear a lot of information, but when you hear a story like that, you're like, oh, that sounds really important.
So anyone with concerns from the community our councils, and they can bring resolutions forward that they see it needs attention.
Yeah.
And so those resolutions come forward. That gets passed on to our M&L advocacy team, and that goes on, and they advocate to whatever group, provincial government most times for funding, let's say. So it starts at the grassroots with our town councils. They see the need, and so they move forward. So I just want I think it's a great decision made, and it shows our appreciation for the work that's being done. The job of our volunteers have changed, and like you said, it can be very traumatic at times, and we certainly appreciate it.
Mary Edmund, thanks so much for this. I
And
appreciate
thank
you
you for
talking
having
about
me.
something that you look at, you're like, it was something that needed to be done, and it's helpful and important. And
Yes, it is.
people need to know about it, so I appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
The next time around, I'll give you a call. I want to do a regional transit show. I'll
That'd
give you a call
be great.
about that.
Our CVN area would be a prime spot for that. That'd be
All right,
great.
we'll plan it out. So, folks,
All right.
put that in the calendar sometime this summer. Mary Edmund's going to be on. I like booking shows when I'm on the air, so
Look forward to
I'll
it.
talk to you after.
Thank you.
All right, here we go. Who else are we looking at here? I'm Adam Walsh. You're listening to The Signal. We're in Gander for the Municipalities Symposium 2024. You got folks from all over the province here. The last time I looked, there were mountains of sandwiches, and now there are but little tiny hills that are left. So it's lunchtime. Lunch, from my observation point, seems to be going swimmingly well. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Introduce yourself and tell us you're with Town Suite, right?
Town Suite Municipal Software. So my name is Sarah. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing with Town Suite. We are a Newfoundland and Labrador based software development company, and we develop municipal ERP solutions just for municipal government in Canada.
So Canada, so you're in Gander, you're located in Gander,
Yep.
and you just said Canada. So
All of Canada.
All of Canada.
Yeah, so we're almost entirely across from coast to coast. We're working on BC, so we expect to see some movement there in the next 6 to 12 months or so.
And how long did you say you've been around for?
1987.
1987.
Yes, we've been
Since
around
I
for-
was 7 years old.
Absolutely.
What? So Town Suite Municipal Software for municipalities. What are some of the types of things that you do?
So our flagship project, I guess you could call, is an accounting solution. So all of your property tax invoices, which I know everybody loves to get in the mail, but property taxes, all of your financial management, budgeting, all of that, those elements of that really important administration part of your municipal operators, what they're doing every day, they're using Town Suite to manage their municipal affairs. We have permitting for building permits, subdivisions, and, managing the growth of your municipalities, asset management and budgeting, and managing all the work associated with all of your roads, your infrastructure, your snow plows, all the garbage trucks, all the fun things we see around our municipalities. And we also have community services, so like online billing, recreation services, complaints. Everybody likes complaints and giving them, but we do have tools for pretty much everything that's happening in a municipality. And they're all integrated together.
So then, to be doing all that across the country, right?
Yeah.
Based out of Gander.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
It feels great.
Yeah.
I've been there for more than 20 years.
Yeah.
So personally, I've seen so much growth in what we do, how we do it, the types of municipalities that we work with, and by types I mean the size, so small, right to much larger municipalities, around up to 100,000 population. So we are seeing a lot of growth still, a lot of advancement, a lot of evolution, and keeping up with what our clients are looking for. So we do continuous improvement all the time to make sure we're meeting our municipal clients' demands and needs to service their own stakeholders, customers, and council.
Sarah Hobbs, thanks for this.
Pardon?
Thank you very much for the chat.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity
I didn't know
to talk
about
to you.
Town Suite, now I do, so thank you.
Thank you.
All right, folks. Jen Crow is here, Choices for Youth. Welcome, stranger. Nice to see you.
Good to see you again, too.
Tell us, let me guess, are you going to be talking about housing today?
Housing, you got it. Yes. Surprise, surprise.
So you're going to be talking about housing. When? What time is it?
2:45 is when we're presenting.
2:45.
Along with MNL, yeah.
Yeah, along with MNL. How are you feeling about that? Give us the quick little 411 on the spiel of what you'll be delivering.
Yeah, so I mean, we were really lucky to work with MNL on doing some research across the province over the last year with an incredible amount of support and leadership from Hope Jameson.
Is Hope here too, or?
Hope's not here today,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
No. So we'll
I didn't see them around, so I was just wondering. But
yeah,
okay.
exactly. We'll be representing them in their work a little bit today. But really, the focus of our conversation is going to be on solutions.
Yeah.
So we know right now that about a third of residents in Newfoundland and Labrador who are living in rentals are living in unaffordable housing, which is a pretty incredible number. We know what's happening in St. John's around the encampment. So the question that we're kind of posing today is, what are some of the solutions that we can implement? So we have Jim Piercy joining us and Brad Hefford, who are both based here in Gander, talking about some of the solutions that they've been implementing both within the municipality and through their nonprofit work. We're going to be talking a little bit about our soft landing model, which is rooted in rapid rehousing, and the idea of how do we take a young person who is navigating housing insecurity and homelessness, how do we rapidly rehouse them? And we have a partnership with the City of St. John's where we actually operate a few of their units to try to secure housing for those young people. So we're all about solutions today and really thinking about what does it take to meaningfully invest in addressing issues around homelessness and housing insecurity.
So then if this was a young person that was like, you call it like sleeping rough or sleeping in a tent or something, if you had a rapid rehousing solution, they could go in and then wraparound supports can start that way, and then folks can kind of build themselves up in order to get into more of a continued appropriate housing for what they need.
Exactly, and I think this is one of those solutions that is certainly scalable.
Yeah.
So when we think about the role of municipalities who are really trying to figure out what's the role that they can play in addressing affordable housing challenges in their communities, one of the opportunities is to partner with community agencies, and there's so many across this province, to say, okay, community agency knows who's experiencing homelessness, the municipality has the ability to connect with landlords, what can they do together? And I mean, in municipalities like the City of St. John's, they actually have their own housing stock. So there's the opportunity to leverage some of that in St. John's. But in rural municipalities, it's really about who's experiencing homelessness and then how do we work together in partnership to rapidly rehouse them, working in a supportive way with those landlords. So that's certainly one option that I think we're interested in having a conversation with municipal leaders today to say, would this work for you and your municipality, right? How do we really, it needs to be private sector, public sector, and nonprofit sector coming together to address this mounting challenge. We can't do it in silos. I think we certainly know that.
Which we've talked about on the show. Good luck this afternoon. Thank you for popping by. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Adam. Take care.
Jen Crow, their Choices for Youth. Gavin Will is here now, and Amanda Gear. How many other folks do we have lined up? One extra, one after Gavin. Okay, I think I'm timing this out just fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well, Adam.
Good. So what's going on in Portugal Cove St. Philip's?
Well, there's lots going on in Portugal Cove St. Philip's right now, but one of my main concerns right now is actually housing.
Yeah.
And the housing initiatives that are being announced by the provincial government. And I really think that the province has to do a better job of not just announcing housing, but providing the support to towns so as to counteract opposition, commonly known as NIMBYism.
Okay, so NIMBYism, right? So you run.
Yes.
So could you got an example you can hit us with?
Well, I got a couple, and I'll just talk about something that is most galling, I suppose. Last November, the province announced its affordable rental housing program, which included 20 units of supported housing in Portugal Cove St. Philip's.
Okay, yeah.
And opposition occurred to that, and as a result, our town council voted it down.
So it's not happening now.
It's not happening, and the problem.
20 units of affordable
Yes.
housing. That was it was like, okay, here we go, and now it gets voted down by the town, and it's not happening.
That's correct.
How does that make you? What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's really unfortunate. There's there are ways to deal with legitimate public concerns, and there are concerns about any development.
Yeah, of course.
And it's the job of council to ensure that when developers recognize those concerns and help to find ways of mitigating them. And unfortunately, the way that this government seems to have designed these programs, they've announced them and then just walk away.
Yeah, the follow. You're saying the follow through is not there. I'm saying, like, I'm looking at, hey, if there is opposition, like, how can we make it so that we can keep following through on this and pushing this through to make sure it's a realization.
Yeah, and this must be a concern to our member, who is Fred Hutton, who is the housing minister. It's his own district.
There you go.
Yeah.
Gavin Wilt, thank you for this.
Thank you. You're very welcome.
We've got one more person to talk to as we're moving along here in Gander at the Municipalities Symposium. We've got
Henry Crane.
Henry Crane from Wana. How you doing?
Wana.
How's your dump issue?
Well, we've got a protest scheduled for Saturday at 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Organised by the council, and we're hoping everybody will show up to that.
Yeah.
Because we've had it up to there.
Yeah.
Really.
And there's a vandalism issue too. Is that being dealt with?
There's a vandalism issue, but I mean that's because basically we can't get access. I think somebody just somebody's got frustrated, cut a hole in the fence, broke out a window into the shack.
Yeah.
That shouldn't stop. That was a month ago now.
Okay.
And that should be a pretty easy fix. Our dump is really closed down.
Right.
Right. So I mean, if you got, and that was for bulk items.
Yeah.
So people are dumping the bulk items outside the fence.
Yeah.
Right. And elsewhere.
And
we're after cleaning up a dozen times, but that's it.
Well then, tell me something. So that's the dump. Tell me something that you're proud of and good about Wana.
Oh well, we're really proud. We got a lot of things done. As a matter of fact, today is May 1st.
Yeah.
We just put our $2.3 million water system online.
There you go.
And we've got another big one coming up in a year from now. That's already begun. So hopefully, within another year and a half, 2 years, the whole of the municipality will not be under a boil order anymore.
Now that's a story. Like that, given the history of this, that is something.
Well, we've been under a boil order now for about 30 years.
30 years, yeah.
And that's all going to be gone. We'll have no more manganese, no more iron, no more trace of arsenic. And the Green and the Valley are going to be the first recipients of that great water.
All right. Councillor Crane, thank you so much.
Not a problem.
Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too.
All right, see you now. All right, folks. I think we've pretty much. I'm looking around in the whole line. We've worked through everyone, and this is great. We're gonna wind down here now, and I'm gonna look ahead because John Pike, who's teching this, keeps giving me numbered fingers up. Are we down to one finger yet, John? 3 fingers, 2 fingers. Okay, we're winding down there. As we look ahead. For this show, we're leaving Gander now from the symposium after talking to all those folks from across Newfoundland and Labrador. We're going to drive back to St. John's, and guess what tomorrow is? Trivia Day. So for all of you trivia heads out there, John Gushu is going to be ready with some trivia questions. This is meant to be an hour of stress-free radio where the only stress there is what's the answer to that question? And we keep it light and breezy. So tune in tomorrow. Thank you for listening today. We're going to let Nate, who's in St. John's teching the show, we're going to let Theme take us out from Gander at this Municipality Symposium. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for listening. Dietrich Walsh, final word, just say goodbye to folks.
Thanks so much for everyone tuning in. Thanks for being here. And just remember, next week is Municipal Awareness Week, and make sure you acknowledge the municipal workers and councillors in your town and city.
There we go. Thank you, Dietrich. All right, folks, we'll catch you tomorrow for trivia. Thanks for listening. Cheers.